And I'm going to put myself on as spotlight for everyone. So you get recorded, highlighted. And yeah, feel free to unmute yourself. We start with a disclaimer. This is more of an interactive session. And if you feel anything, if you have any itching for asking any question in between or something doesn't catch up, just put the reaction button, raise your hand up. I'll pause my recording and then we can discuss. So last week we discussed around, just to give a small recap, we discussed the art of dynamic reflection, how you can reflect on your own speech, like taking yourself out and reflecting on your own speech objectively. So we looked into the art of feedback. But, and a couple of weeks ago, we also hinted that competitions are knocking at our door. In 2 months, you'll have competition. So we then move into this 7 series, I'd say, segment. It will last for 7 weeks. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to motivate you on competition. I'm assuming you are already motivated on competition. You know the benefits of competing, because do you know who competes? Just look at your childhood. Like, who competes? Athletes compete. Now, if you ask me, I'm not an athlete, I don't want to compete. I just ask, play pretend and become a communication athlete. Because in the end, the competition is with yourself.
Mm.
And when you compete with yourself, there's always wins. There's no losses. Actually, you win. And you'll be amazed looking at yourself after a year from now, just because of these competitions. So in this 7 series, I'll just set the agenda straight. Today we are going to speak about ideation. When I was a new Toastmaster, I was new into competition. I lost. I was a very sore loser.
Mm.
I was to come back again. I will win again. And my objective was just winning. But at the same time, silently, the competition had started sharpening my skills. That means if I did a lot of dad jokes. I still told dad jokes, but now those jokes were written by me and they were really funny. I really wanted to understand. Sometimes emotions, when I started initially, there were emotions, there was a disconnect. That means what I was feeling was not what the audience was feeling. And to m- and competition gives you that window to test out your identity. And I think the third best part of competitions in general is you start focusing at your identity, or your what we call as your origin stories. This is where we know we are not habits, we are humans. That means we are core to our identity. And with our identity, we have our values. And today's session, what we are going to do today is use public speaking as a method to become curious and explore our own stories and find out, we'll look into our own stories and find out what is it that is valuable, and hence the word value comes from. So if you look into your stories right from childhood, let it be the first time you fought for something
Mm.
you did not get and you started fighting because there was a value. You found value to fight. Whatever it is, I will fight for it. And those are, I'm just giving a small example because I did my first fight. I remember when I was, I think, grade two. I still remember the guy, his name is Sam, and he held my collar, and I was drinking water from the common water fountain, and he just pulled that and he told it's my bottle. And I held his collar and I smashed him and he smashed me. We both smashed each other till we met the principal and we were like brown baboons. Fought over a water bottle. But That fight reminded me to stand up for something that I believe in. And
Mm.
that is my story. And that is where, if you do chat GPT, it will not tell you about yourself. It will tell you about some other stories. And this is the biggest problem I have with current generation of people coming in who prepare speeches from GPT is they're not go with your identity. Now, I can tell about Gandhi's story. I can be emotional. But imagine if it is your story coming through, then that has lasting impact because your stories gives you authenticity of presenting.
Mm.
So we go back to the origin story. Now it ask me, okay, I came here for competition. You're talking about philosophy. Why is it so? And why should I prepare? I can just make up anything and speak, right? Yes, you can make up. At the same time, we are looking at I would say, the absolute crown jewels of Toastmasters. That is the international speaking contest. You'd ask me, I need six speeches to get into international contest. Yes, fair enough. But what we are doing, trying to do is understand a framework of speech preparation. Even though you're not eligible, you can use this framework and give competition speeches. How? We have an evaluation contest. In an evaluation contest, we call them somebody known as a test speaker, goes into an unknown club, presents a topic, and he or she gets evaluated by seven people. Imagine seven evaluations on your speech. That's a competition. That means you are growing sevenfold times
Mm.
just by a single speech. And here's the trick. If you are not eligible for seven speeches, what stops you from giving speeches outside the club? What stops you from going into other clubs? And if you've seen our clubs, Tracy in Talking Point and Vandana in Berwick, they are hunting for people. Come, the speakers have not turned up. Can you give a speech? Because it's quite natural for people to, I, would, I should not say chicken, I would say become apprehensive when their
Mm.
time comes to present, and that's fair enough. I have chicken. I'm not shy about it. I'm not proud of it. But at the same time, there are spots, and I was speaking with Maithili the other day, and there are spots which, if you are prepared, because somebody told us this that destiny is the chance is actually what favors the prepared mind. So when we are prepared, we start creating more chances and we start becoming more lucky.
Mm.
Oh, I got this chance to give a speech. And even if it's the same speech, you can tick off the box. But today's theme is how do I go back to my identity? Now I'm sharing my screen, and this is what we want to start. We are starting with a blank slate. We don't have a speech ready, but we want to prepare a speech that, so we, out of like for the last 5 minutes, we were discussing, yes, our speeches should resonate with ourselves first. Only if we believe on our story, the audience will start believing in our story, is it not? And I'm sharing my screen. Now you see these are the I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good. This is Luisa Montalvo. Uh, she's the first Mexican woman who won the competition last year.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Luisa came in 2019. She came in second, and last year she came in first. So there's a method to madness I'm talking about. Now, if you see here, her her name is Jocelyn Tyson. I know these people like my own family members. Jocelyn Tyson. And what I've done, I'll share the screen with you later, and I have included YouTube links for you to start watching. And this is a skill we should start developing because it goes back to the ancient, not ancient, our science of mirror neurons. We learn by watching others speak, and we start. Suddenly, as you start putting in, like, I have a daily habit of watching one speech a day and studying them, like I study my,
Mhm.
like bringing curiosity and start studying. So that means just not watch the first winner. For last 5 years, in 7 weeks, let's aim to watch at least five speeches. And once you watch, I'm just giving you, just watch the first, second, third of 2 years. That's it. And you see, these are the speech topics which don't tell anything about what they're going to talk about. 37 Strangers. Louisa talks about a very deep story where she lost her consciousness. Her heart stopped, and how 37 strangers helped her out. And that's a deep moving story. And these are the gold standards which Toastmasters pushes us to start becoming one of them. Then Hannah Cheng talked about Are You Ready? Where she was always not ready. Then Hannah spoke about how she found her soulmate in Toastmasters. And from always not being ready to becoming always ready. And if you see, these speeches don't give away the core philosophy of your story. So that means your title can be just anything. It really doesn't matter. The only thing which I ask you is it should bring intrigue. 37 strangers, you'd say, what is 30? Like becoming curious. What is 37 strangers? Jocelyn Tyson, okay, Angela Raven Finch, replaced by Sophia. She talks about, and she's a voice actor, and she talks about how her job was taken away by AI, and her voice just not taken away. They copied her voice and named it Sophia, and without giving her any credits, no money, nothing. She's a voice actor, her job gone one day. That was deeply moving, and she brought in AI affecting one. So if you see, you start looking at themes. Don't go beyond 5 years looking at themes because like almost 20 years ago, then there will be themes like 9/11, which really makes sense, Vietnam War. But in the current moment, with AI coming into the picture, there are new themes evolving. Because remember our good Venn diagram? Now, if I drew a Venn diagram, one circle is your interests, what you are passionate about, and this is what I want to. Actually, I've been lazy. I have done. There's my phone. I've taken my notes while sitting on a car.
Mhm.
So the Venn diagram. So that means you have to ask one question is what are my views of the world around me? What are my views? So you list down what are your beliefs? The statements would come like I believe in friendship. I believe in equality. I believe in Melbourne or Donald Trump. And but if those surface level questions come in, you start asking one more deeper question. Okay, if it is Donald Trump, what is that one quality in Trump that I believe in? You'd say absolute businessman. He focuses on making America great again. Okay. So instead of believing in a person, you start believing in the values which you share. So what are
Mhm.
your views of the world? And you don't need to share it, but there is nothing right or wrong. It is your belief system. Then you ask, what do I like most about this world? What do I like most? What do you love? Because unfortunately, the news talk about bad things, but there are certain things that you love, like beautiful roads, wonderful forests, you go into majestic mountains. Once that is done, I want you to do the dislike exercise as well. What do I dislike most about the world? Where are people, what are people's blind spots? that you see, they don't. So you put like in one column, you put dislike in one column, and you start seeing what is you finding quite common, which people don't, and that becomes your core topic of the
Mhm.
speech. Because in the end, you want to persuade, influence your audience to take action on what you believe they might not believe, but with your stories, you start moving them slightly to your belief systems. That is the goal of persuasion, and that's also a goal of humor, entertaining speech. You put in certain, so it's not a small gag or you do stand-up comedy and all. Humorous speaking is all about my view of the world and what I dislike most. And then you make fun out of that dislike. So your dislike becomes, you communicate in a more humorous way. Now, you can also ask, what do I see things in the world that I say it is not fair? So do you see a war happening somewhere and you tell yourself it's not fair? Do you see politicians or corruption coming somewhere? Do you see children dying of hunger? Do you see there's no equality of, so these are all society like social questions. So you can put these down. Then as I mentioned, what are my audience's blind spot? So that means you don't need to start doing a survey. You would have an opinion of the audience, right? Typically Australian coming into our context. What are their blind spots? That means one blind spot I can think of is there's no manufacturing. So we
Yeah.
are pure consumer company and like country. We're just consuming, consuming, consuming. We're just building our own real estate, buying, selling, buying, selling. But there's no export of, say, earlier, like for example, Australian tractors are a gold standard in India. The Indian villages would die for getting John Deere tractors. And they still swear by those wonderful tractors. But slowly that standard Australian thing starts dying. So I'm just making one up. So that I'm quite passionate about. Going back to the manufacturing. So that is one thing you can do. Once you finish it, end of the day, just consider yourself that your competition speech is your own masterclass in persuasion. That means what is your belief system? What your audience's belief system? You start matching it with your speech. Just think it's as your masterclass. So homework, I'm going to give you this one. Don't bother about the speech titles because in our seven session series, we are we are starting with speech ideation. That is today. Don't give yourself more than 2 days to find your core theme. Focus on yourself over the weekend and then prepare something because we'll start refining it. And don't worry, we can change it later. But what we want to do is pick a topic that we believe in and start working on it. Second homework, so one theme, and we just prepare one story. Traditional Toastmasters would tell you prepare three stories in a speech, right? I want you to watch homework, three speeches of last year, 2024 champs. 37 Strangers, Are You Ready? Replaced by Sophia. Just watch them.
Hmm.
And once you watch them, ask yourself, how many stories did they tell?
Hmm.
Sometimes, so in competition, more than one story is overwhelming and overloading on the audience. We want to have enough stories and enough room to also give the lessons and the message. Otherwise, you'd have three stories and then you proceed. Yeah, MJ?
Just one question, Anshuman, on the on the topic of choosing what you believe in. Where do we draw the line? Because some things that you strongly believe in may be very controversial.
Yeah, good. Good
Uh,
point.
I mean, like I can give you many examples, but
Good point. Yes,
there are a few thoughts that I have which I feel are
correct,
very
correct,
controversial when I talk to
correct.
people. They
That's
have
fine.
completely opposing views. So how do we draw that line?
And that is what is good. That is where you are polarizing the audience. So yes, just for the sake, we don't do religion, we don't do politics, we don't do any kind of
Mm,
gender, sorry, not gender, sexual orientation, or
mm,
any kind of religion or some phobism, like anti-Semitic or say
mm,
Islamophobic. We always wade away from there. But there are certain things like investment, finance, you can always bring
yeah,
those in.
yeah,
So where do you
yeah.
draw the line is you believe in something very strong. I want you bringing that one. Yes, it would be like mildly controversial, pepper it down, but bring that in because that shows and you're passionate about something. And once you bring something polarizing, two things will happen. A, one part will not believe you, second part will believe you, but you have a bigger factor of believing in you.
Mm.
And then your story is then telling your side perspective so then the other people believe in you. I gave a competition speech around, say, not enrolling in military. If you're enrolling, then commit yourself because of the wars are created by by politicians.
Mm,
But the poor soldiers just get enrolled and they fight. So I prepared a story there. It was controversial because my own uncle was a lieutenant colonel in the army. And it was around how he did not go to war and went in the safe
mm,
zone. And I was pretty angry about it. So uh, get in two or three topics, and at this place, we'll start bouncing off the ideas. And we'll
thank you,
see
Anjuman.
whether, and we'll absolutely treat this as safe space. We'll bounce off, we start putting in ideas and controversial, mildly controversial. Let's water it down to become less controversial by putting in little bit funny stuff. So then you have your topic, but you can give your message in an easy way. Yeah, did that answer your question, MJ?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And controversy is good. Don't wade away from controversy. Yeah,
Well, that
like AI is
depends.
the big one. You see Angela's
Yes,
Raven's Finch
yes.
speech, it is all about AI. The world is taking,
Mm,
and she believes in my job is taken away, it's coming for you. But are
mm,
we losing our human touch?
Mm.
mm,
So just watch the few speeches. Everybody is
mm,
controversial.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah. And like 2022 champion Nindini, he was known as Steve. He just named himself Steve. Like we have, like you have people who can't pronounce your name, and you just name it because you are ashamed of his name. That's a very controversial topic. And
mm.
you are giving yourself a leader's edge by being vulnerable to controversies and accepting. I, I believed in some other ideas, which the world made me believe, but this is who I am. Indini is the core identity story. I know all these stories by heart. I've been studying them like I'd say, uh, yeah, I don't know, like um,
It's also interesting, I feel, Anjuman, like
yeah,
just one thought that I don't know of all these people, I have not watched their videos, but like I feel it's very strange that is it that people who've gone through a lot will have better stories to say?
yeah.
Like
That's a good
thanks. I
question.
mean,
Very valid
I'm very
question.
thankful to God that I don't think I have gone through such bad time that I have a very big story to say. I'll have to search for stories in
That's
my
fine.
life to make it
I mean,
personal.
as I told you, you
But
don't need to. I told you right about the story about a fight between me and Sam.
hmm,
So that's an origin story. That's
hmm.
it. You don't need to go and murder somebody and then tell very sad story. I landed in jail. That's a good story for humorous one though. But but
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
expects, and
I think
yeah, and nobody
sorry, just
expects
one.
some sorrowful.
Yeah,
Okay,
I get your point.
there
Yeah.
is one story known as the Swami's Question by Vikas Jingran. Uh, Vikas. Okay, there's I think 20, Vikas spoke about Vikas Jingran, the
Yeah, the
Swami's
Swami's
Question.
question.
Yeah, 2007. That was a full humorous story that won. So he talked
Nice.
about how he was taken by his mom to that Swami who read his palm and told him to become a super great person, and then nothing worked. So it's like the fun things that you see, and start watching, and then you start thinking, okay, my style is more humor, my style, and then you start looking into your own style, adopting these role models, and you start looking at something known as modeling,
Mm,
which I'll cover next session.
mm,
So 7 sessions we are going to ideation. Next step is we'll start looking into the story, then the conclusion, then the introduction, and finally we'll end it up with the title. After 7 weeks, you should have a working copy of your speeches. So that means you can use this copy and put that framework into your actual presentations, and we start compressing. How can you prepare a speech every time that comes? And you can take this framework and apply it to your workplace as well.
mhm,
Like keynote speeches, if you are dreaming of becoming a public speaker, this is the foundation. You can take this framework, you can scale it. This is a scalable framework. Scale it to fill in a full an hour or even a day of public speaking. Yeah, never know. You one of you, I'll visit and you give me tickets for free. We stop there. Any questions you had? I think we'll have Q&A. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, let's wrap up.
Yeah, just a quick question, Andaman. Thank you so much for that. That was very insightful, and I'm looking forward to, spending more time with you and everybody listening in. You said, was you going to share the list with us? Did I hear you say you was going to share the
Yes,
list of the
yes.
public speakers for
So,
us to research?
yeah, so Nick, what I've done is all the recordings go into a page where we have chapters,
Yes,
and any discussion that we have goes into that same page. So that includes this video that we are watching, as
yes.
well as the notes. So that goes into the list. I'll
Okay.
send you, and you can watch. But I'll give you. I've done all the hard work for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, any other questions? But I hope we have our homework. We know we have to come with a. We have to start exploring ourselves and find our own origin stories. Doesn't matter if it is controversial.
Mm,
In fact, the more controversial, the better. Because in the end, you want to polarize the audience in your favor or against you. That is the typical one, typical method politicians sway people.
hmm
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I'll let you go. 8:17, and we catch up next week then.
Thank
We
you.
will
Thank you,
do.
Usman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have
Thanks,
a
Andaman. Thanks, everyone.
good
Take
evening.
care.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.